Well, Ricky Skaggs, good morning and welcome to WBKR.
Well, good morning to you. Glad to be with you this morning.
You know, we love when we get to talk to an artist that is a Kentucky boy. You know, I mean, we appreciate that. And you're very proud of your Kentucky roots.
I am. I should be.
I'd say so.
My ancestors came into Kentucky many, many, many years ago in the 1700s. One of the oldest family names in Kentucky. And back when Kentucky was still Virginia, we were in that territory. My ancestors were called Long Hunters. They were a band of hunting brothers, but they also, were with other families that hunted in the Cumberland region, and they came through the Cumberland Gap, and they were in Kentucky in the 1760s, which is a few years before Boone came in the 1770s. So,
yeah,
the old family name, and I'm proud of the heritage that I have.
Well, that's great. Well, we're definitely proud to call you one of ours. I do need to apologize before we get started. This has been a couple of years ago, and I was down in Nashville, and I'm pretty sure I almost ran you over at an intersection. And I called my friend Chad that I work with and said, I think I just almost ran over Ricky Skaggs. He said, "Dear God, you didn't hurt his fingers, did you?" I said, "No, I didn't. I didn't touch him." And then I didn't want to say, "Oh, I'm sorry." So I just kept going really quickly. So I apologize for that. No, you didn't.
I don't remember that, but
that's good.
That was good. So I must have forgiven it.
That's good. I'm glad. I am glad. So now let's talk about. You had a couple of really big projects come out. I guess about a little bit, almost a year ago, you had a really interesting autobiography come out and a CD. So tell us a little bit about your projects that you've had coming out here lately.
Well, my book, my autobiography, came out last August, and that's just been a wonderful addition to the history of Ricky Skaggs and all that I try to bring to the music industry and especially to Bluegrass. But it's just got a great history. This book does. It goes, it starts with my life, and I was born in 1954, but it goes in when my dad bought me a mandolin in 1959 and stuck it in my bed when I was, still sleeping. It was early one morning, and so there I woke up to it. There it was, and then the next year getting to play with Bill Monroe at age 6 in a little town called Martha, Kentucky. That was named after my 8th great grandmother, and so that was a really cool event, cool moment, that I'll never forget. And then, coming to Nashville, my dad was always trying to get me on the Grand Ole Opry, and at 7 years old, I got to meet Earl Scruggs backstage at the Opry one night. And he heard me play and invited me down for an audition for their television show. And I made the audition, and they had me come on and play. And so you can find that on YouTube. Just type in my name and Flatt and Scruggs' name, and there I am with a Vacation Bible School haircut, and not quite like what I'm wearing these days. But anyway, it was a great way to get started, and then meeting the Stanley Brothers right after that, and then just the years that I had in playing in Bluegrass bands until I went to work with Emmylou Harris in 1978. All of that, and then I came to Nashville in the early '80s and got a country music record deal, trying to blend bluegrass with traditional country music, and had a lot of success with that for about 10 years. And then in '96, I come back to bluegrass after Bill Monroe passed away, and my father passed away the same year, and both of those men were great champions for bluegrass, and they wanted me to. I'm sure they're happy that I'm playing bluegrass today. So anyway, I started my record label, Skaggs Family Records, in 1997, and that's been a great thing for me. So a lot of stuff in the book, and then you mentioned another project, a project of Bruce Hornsby, great piano player and singer, songwriter. He and I have been friends for many years, and we did a studio record here at my studio in Hendersonville, Tennessee. Back in, I think it was 2006 or 7, something like that. We went out and toured that off and on for a couple of years, and we did a bunch of live recordings. And when the tour was over, we started going through them and found that we had just a treasure trove of great, performances from all over the country. And so we started editing all those performances together into one live show, and it's just great. It's called Cluck Old Hen, and that record is out now, and I'll have some of those with me in Owensboro, as well as my book and other things from Skaggs Family Records that we have, other CDs. So it's it's a great record, and actually in the studio right now working with my wife Sharon White, the Whites. We've been married soon to be 33 years, and we're finally getting to do a duet project ourselves. She's a great singer, and so we've done things together as the family with the Whites, but she and I have never got to do a whole CD together, just us two, and so that's I think that's going to be a really, really great project. It's very country, but we got some some gospel on there as well, but some really driving bluegrass, and so I think the fans are going to love it.
I'm also, I keep thinking, because when someone like you has been in the business for so long, I feel like nowadays bluegrass music, even like Americana, folk style music, is cool. It's popular. It's hip. Like, and I think that it's artists like you who have, continued to carry on the legend of course, we're proud of bluegrass music, especially here in Owensboro with the International Bluegrass Museum and ROMP, which we'll talk about shortly. But can you kind of tell a difference in how, I guess, society has transitioned to bluegrass being really cool?
Well, there's a couple of reasons. I mean, I think one thing that's been good, is the young appeal to bluegrass these days. I think there's younger artists, younger bands playing the music, and groups like Nickel Creek and Allison Krauss. Of course, Allison's getting older every day, like me, but she's not nearly as old as me, but she has influenced so many young girls, to pick up the fiddle and to sing, and of course, the Watkins, Sarah Watkins, that's with Nickel Creek, and Sean, her brother, Chris Thiele, they're young and have really made a mark with young kids with this music, and so I think that's been a big part, but also, the internet. I mean, with the accessibility to this music worldwide now. We never had that opportunity 25, 30 years ago.
Right.
We never had the opportunity to get the music into China, or to Israel, or to Australia. It was just like, that was a dream, of, you had to go there. Now you can be there in, 1 second, you can be all the way there, so it's just amazing, the technology has really allowed the music to go in so many places, but I also think that when country music, that we know of, people call country music today, I think when country music really steers off course and gets really, really, far away from its core roots, which is traditional, steel guitar, sing, fiddle and all that. I feel like that, sometimes it's more now about the image. It's more about, just party and having a big time and all that kind of stuff. And it just seems to have drifted away from, the great songs, the great performances and all that, And I think what happens is, in the process of that, and it may, young people may still like it, but I think when they hear bluegrass, they hear the most country, the most traditional, the purest form of country music that there is today is bluegrass, and so, because it's never been, I would say, prostituted. It never has been, so commercialized that it lost its sway, it lost its sound. If anything, it's in lots of ways, it's wanted to bring tradition to the forefront. I know that's my heart is to go back to Flatt and Scruggs and Bill Monroe and the Stanley Brothers, to bring their music forward to this generation, so that they know who the elders were. They know who the guys were that really, really started the music, and so we try to always bring that in our shows. And so when we come to the Romp, I'm sure there's going to be all kinds of bluegrass there, modern bluegrass, progressive bluegrass. But, we like to bring a more traditional style of bluegrass to the audience. And I think that, I think people need to know the history. They need to know the stories, and it's really good to be able to do that. And it's certainly worked well for us.